Hi, I'm Tim Miller. I'm the co-founder of Blur Studio here in Los Angeles, and I created Love, Death, and Robots along with David Fincher, also Secret Level on Amazon, and directed things like Deadpool, Terminator, Dark Fate, and lots of other shit that you wouldn't know unless you're a super nerd like me. Our AI overlords say Tim Miller is best known for directing Deadpool 2016, creating and producing Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots, and co-founding Blur Studio, a top visual effects company. He also directed Terminator Dark Fate. I would change that just a little bit and put co-founding Blur at the top. And Blur's less visual effects, although we do some, and more animation and game cinematics and trailers. Mostly true. AI says Tim Miller studied illustration and animation in college, which laid the foundation for his career in visual effects and filmmaking. He attended Virginia Commonwealth University from 1984 to 1988. And earned a bachelor degree in fine arts. That is all true. I also drank a lot of beer and ate a lot of 25-cent macaronis.
Okay.
It was the easiest thing. It was either that or a full thing of cornbread. That was my favorite thing. Answer, Tim Miller originally wanted to be a comic book artist. How did the internet or the AI know this unless it's coming from another interview, perhaps? But it's true. I did want to be a comic book artist. I also wanted to be a comic book writer because comic books for me, my love was drawing and reading, and comic books is the medium that puts both of those things together. It's words and pictures. It doesn't get any better than that as far as I'm concerned. So I love to draw, but by the time I was getting out of college, I knew I just didn't have the skill necessary. I saw what other people could do, and I knew I couldn't do that. So I leaned into the writing a little bit more. Also couldn't do that and waited a lot of tables. AI says Tim Miller once worked as a stunt double for an action film in the 1990s, using his education in animation to help create realistic fight scenes. That is total bullshit. Although I actually like that answer better than the real Tim Miller's life, because it would be cool to be a stunt double.
What was your first job in the entertainment industry?
I worked, aside from doing freelance illustration alongside my waiting tables, my first job in animation was at a company called Milner Fenwick in Baltimore. And they made films where, let's say you have a glaucoma, and your doctor would say, sit down in this room and watch this movie that'll tell you about glaucoma. And this company made those films and sold them to doctors' offices. So the first film I directed was So You Have an STD. I'm not shitting you. That isn't the actual truth. Yes. And it was amazing. A directorial tour de force. Yeah. AI says Miller is an avid gamer, often integrating his love for video games into his work. This interest has influenced many of his projects, particularly those that involve intricate visual effects and animation techniques. Yeah, not true anymore, really. I did love video games, and I still love video games, but I don't get a chance to play them much more. I got so little free time that if I have any, what I choose most is reading. I love books. I can't seem to get enough reading of books. I have like 1,300 short story books on my Kindle, which is where I find all the stories for the show. And then there's so many novels I like. It's a pretty big reading list that I have. I still enjoy video games, and I like the stories around them, but I just don't have the time to play them. Tim Miller's favorite food. The AI says Tim Miller might enjoy a good burger or a pizza, which is a pretty good guess, right? Given his creative, no holds barred approach to work, he seems like the type who might enjoy a hearty, satisfying meal after a long day. I certainly love a good burger or pizza, but I don't allow myself to eat that too often because I'd like to be around to create more. And if you eat that sort of food all day long, at my age anyway, you're not going to be able to create too much. You're going to be more interested in taking a nap. Tim Miller likes a good salad and pizza, but honestly, from where I'm from, fried chicken. That was my birthday dinner, always fried chicken. My mom would make it. No vegetables. I didn't have a fresh vegetable till I was in college. I'm serious. I'm totally serious. If it didn't come out of a sack with sauce on it, we didn't serve it at my house. But now I like a good salad, and I like sushi, which my father went to his deathbed denying that. He's like, you don't really like that shit. That's just a fucking California thing. I'm like, no, Dad, I really like sushi. He's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Nobody likes it. I'm like, no, I do. I do like sushi. Answer is Warhammer. Tim Miller has mentioned playing and painting Warhammer figures as a child. That is not true. I love Warhammer. My company Blur has done a number of cinematics, and we just did a big episode for a secret level. So I love the world. I love the creativity of it and the artwork, and it's such a full nerd. It's everything about it is just the super nerdiest thing you can imagine, and I love it for that. And I hope we get to do more of it, but no, I did not play. Answer, although he didn't appear on camera, Tim Miller did provide the voice for an animated character in Ralph Breaks the Internet 2. That is a load of shit. I did not do a voice for that. You know, when you're a director, a lot of times sometimes directors like to step in the movie and be in the background or whatever. I am not a fan of that. I firmly believe that we should stay behind the camera, and that's about it. And I would feel it was just pure ego to step in front of it. The earth doesn't need to see more of this. In fact, what you're seeing now is too much of this, so not gonna happen. Love, Death, and Robots is a show with different short stories all about robots, futuristic worlds, and the weird, sometimes dark side of life told through awesome animation. I'd agree with that. I like that they added the awesome in front of animation because that's the way I feel about it. The AI says, Tim Miller created Love, Death, and Robots inspired by his love of sci-fi anthology storytelling and drawing influences from heavy metal short story collections and his collaboration with David Fincher. That is mostly true. Heavy metal was a big influence for me. I wanted to be an animator, and I didn't want to animate Yogi Bear and Hanna-Barbera. I wanted to do adult themed stuff. And so heavy metal was really the only thing. Things like Fritz the Cat, these midnight movies that I would go to with my friends were really the only option for adult animation. And so when I met Fincher, who also loves animation, he's like, what do you want to do, man? And I said, well, here's 10 projects that I think would be cool. Most of them were based on books. And one of them was a new heavy metal. Let's do a new heavy metal for a new age. And he's like, yeah, let's do that because we can do anything. We can explore different art techniques and storytelling. And that was the thing. And anybody that thinks that, you know, it's easy to get shit made, even if you're David Fincher or Jim Cameron or Guillermo del Toro or whatever, it's not. The AI says, if I were to speculate, The Witness and Good Hunting might be among his favorites because they align with his love for experimental animation and pushing boundaries in terms of narrative and visual style. That would be incorrect. It's hard to say because they're all my children, you know. But there is a method to Love, Death, and Robots, which is not just to pick what I want. It should be representative of the other people that are involved in the show. So sometimes I do things like horror. I don't like horror. Horror scares me. I don't know why people like it. Being scared is an uncomfortable feeling. Why do people want to feel uncomfortable is a mystery to me. I don't, but I know people do, so we try and have that in there. I would say that I'd have to break that category down. The Witness and Hibaro are hands down probably the most beautiful pieces of animation ever done. Alberto Mieglo is a genius. And nobody sees the world quite like him. Story-wise, they're a little abstract for my taste. Of course, The Drowned Giant, the one I did, is one of my favorites. I'd wanted to do that story since high school. Sonny's Edge is one of my favorites. Man, there's so many. I like them all. They're all good. And in this season 4, there are some real wingers. AI says, the Cats and Three Robots are based on a real-life cat obsession. The idea of cats ruling a post-apocalyptic world came from a running joke at Blur Studio. That is total bullshit. I don't know where that came from. It does feel like there's a real love of cats, but it's not mine. It's John Scalzi's. We've taken like 4 or 5 of John's stories at this point. John loves cats, so I love his stories, so we just happen to have these stories with cats. I'm reading the answer from AI here, and it's the opposite. The answer is Pop Squad is a thrilling dystopian tale about a futuristic cop tasked with enforcing a no-children law who begins to question the morality of his job. I think this is about the farthest you can get from fun in the episode anywhere. Killing children. I don't want to smile when I hit killing children. This was an interesting episode because I love the story and I pulled it, but I wouldn't go near this story as a director. It's just too polarizing. But Jennifer Yu Nelson, who was the supervising director on season 3 and this season, Jennifer loved the story and she wanted to take it on, which I thought was super brave. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to tell and have people enjoy because of the subject matter. So yeah, that was not the most fun. AI says the most difficult episode to make of Love, Death, and Robots was likely The Drowned Giant. That one was the most difficult for me personally. I wouldn't say that it's the most difficult technically, but just because it mentioned that, I'll just say that I've loved that story forever. And every season I tried to get the story. You have to get the rights to do it. And J.G. Ballard is no longer with us, and his daughters control the rights, and they just weren't interested in somebody doing it. And I understand they were worried that their father's legacy wouldn't be treated well. I wrote like 50 emails. Please, please, please. I promise you I won't. But it wasn't until I found this illustration I'd done in high school for a science fiction fanzine for a story by Richard Kadri based on the work of J.G. Ballard. And I had done this illustration. And I said, look, I've loved this story forever. Please, this was done in 1981. I will fuck it up. I swear to you. And they let me do it. AI says, an intriguing behind-the-scenes fact about Love, Death, and Robots is that the episode Ice almost didn't make it into the lineup. I don't know where that one's coming from. I changed the ending there slightly too because it was a pretty dark ending that Rich Larson originally wrote, but otherwise it was always meant to be in there. Answer is, the production of a single episode of Love, Death, and Robots can take anywhere from 6 months to over a year. I think that's a fair assessment. Usually on the high end of that. Some can take even longer, like Fincher's was 20 minutes. All the studios that work on the show are not giant corporate studios with hundreds of artists. We tend to work with smaller boutique studios, and they just don't have the bandwidth to do too big a thing too fast. So we like to give them, I feel like smaller teams more time, produce better work. So we try and give them as much time as we can. AI says, Love, Death, and Robots Season 4 stands out from previous seasons with its bold experimentation in animation styles, deeper philosophical themes, more cinematic storytelling, and a mix of star-studded voice talent. I wish that was true. I can't say it is. Because somebody, Guillermo del Toro, in fact, just wrote Fincher and I, and he said, man, I got to tell you, whatever you did editorially from season 3 and season 4, because he's watched it, because he's going to interview us, just made a huge difference. It's so much better. And I wrote back to him and Fincher, I don't know what that is, because there is no different way we go about this. I mean, it really is like the luck of the draw or the roll of the dice or how we put the season together. It's the same. They all come through me, all the stories. So they're really just, I haven't really changed that much in the last 50 years. I pick what I think is interesting, and it just so happens that these are the stories that end up in this particular mix. AI says, Season 4 of Love, Death, and Robots features a star-studded voice cast, including Michael B. Jordan, Gwendolyn Christie, Joe Keery, Jesse Williams, Zazie Beetz, Coster Waldau, David Tennant, and Sylvester Stallone. No, none of that is true. Michael did one in season 2 or maybe season 3 called Life Hutch, but nobody else there. I don't know where that list came from. That would be a great fucking cast list. So maybe I should. Can you save that one for me and send it over?
Send that one right to you. Do you want to tease anybody that is in season 10, volume 4?
Let's see. Kevin Hart is in volume 4. Mr. Beast is in volume 4, or Jimmy, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. John Oliver is in season 4. Oh yeah, John Boyega. Oh, and Ed Skrein, who played who played the villain in, I was going to say Angel Dust. That was Gina Carano, who played Ajax, the villain in Deadpool. Ed's a good guy. AI says season 4 of Love, Death, and Robots will feature 10 episodes. That is correct. AI can count if there's one thing it can do. Oh man, I can't say that, but I can tell you what the AI says. Tim Miller has expressed a particular fondness for the episode Night of the Mini Dead from season 4. There is no episode called Night of the Mini Dead in season 4. That is season 3. We do have Close Encounters of the Mini kind, but I love them. I love them all. I really do love 400 Boys though. Robert Valley's short. It's beautiful. AI says Hibaro was created using a unique blend of traditional animation techniques and cutting-edge CGI, which took a staggering 3 years to complete. Wrong. So the real answer, which episode 4 was the most challenging to create? I'm going to say Screaming of the Tyrannosaur. It was challenging for a number of reasons. Number one, it's dinosaurs in space, with a herd of Triceratops, and there's a T-Rex, and there's these riders that fight on top of them. It's really hard to animate and light, and it's in space. I mentioned that. That was difficult. And also we had some production issues where one of our partners, Axis in Scotland, was doing it, and they went out of business about halfway through the production. And so Blur brought it in-house and finished it. But there was a moment there where we're like, holy shit. We had to get all this stuff back from Axis, from the ashes of Axis, and finish the short. And it was a challenge. It's, everybody does things a little differently, so it was a big challenge to get it back up on its feet. But I'm super proud of how it turned out.
Let's see, you said challenge, you sold me on dinosaurs in space. Is that the basic?
AI says in Love, Death, and Robots season 4, real-time rendering technology was innovatively used in several episodes, including Swarm and Night of the Mini Dead. And for those watching at home, I don't have COVID or cancer or whatever. Allergies in Los Angeles. It's terrible right now. So that's why I'm snotty. I apologize. None of those are true, especially because neither of those episodes are in season 4. However, we did use Unreal in them. Aaron Sims' company did what your smart appliances are saying about you. And it looks like claymation, but it's actually all done in Unreal. AI says, one of the most surprising episodes in Love, Death, and Robots season 4 is Can't Stop, directed by David Fincher. This episode features a surreal reimagining of the Red Hot Chili Peppers' 2003 concert at Slane Castle. I'd say that's a big surprise. I'm always surprised when Fincher has time to do one, and gratified, because he loves the show. It's funny because if you'd think that he really loves the show, and it's not just that he tells me that, it's like he tells his friends that, like, he loves the show. It's one of the things he's most proud of. So, but he doesn't come and say, Tim, give me a episode, or I want to direct 2 episodes, or whatever. He's fine with, just tell me if you want me to direct an episode. So it's surprising that he's that lax about it, but also that supportive of the show. AI says the most emotionally resonant episode of Love, Death, and Robots season 4 is The Drowned Giant. I'm gratified that it gives you that answer, even though it's technically wrong. I would say Spider Rose is the most emotionally resonant one. I we had an event in Vegas last week, and we screened it for like 1,000 fans, and at the end of it, this woman screamed out, "Damn you! Stop making me cry!" It was very funny.
Can you give us a brief synopsis without spoiling anything about what the episode's about?
Spider Rose is about a woman dealing with her grief in a very unique way, where she isolates and medicates herself so she doesn't feel anything at all about the death of her husband. And then she's offered a chance for revenge. AI says Love, Death, and Robots Volume 4, Season 4, I don't know why it's in parentheses, was released on December 15th, 2023. Me, AI. What is your problem? It will be on Netflix May 15th, 2022. No, I'm joking. 2025. May 15th. Be there. It'll be square.